Alrighty, just about to do a yeast and hop rack on the Chronicle, and just wanted to run you guys through the process. Basically, I just rack the beer when it's warm, or always try to. That way I'm not dealing with a bunch of sediment that's built up in the bottom, whatever it might be, just your yeast and hops and protein and all that junk. If you do it when it's cold, it can often build up in that elbow and get pretty dense and make your life quite hard. Beyond that, just chuck a bit of head pressure on the top, like I generally do, around 3 psi, or just as long as that your little blow off there is not breaking out, you know you've obviously got a decent amount of head pressure to go about racking off. If you don't do that, you might end up with like a case of when you turn a water bottle on its head, the same will basically happen with your fermenter. If I was to open that valve fully and not put any head pressure on top, at some point it's just going to want to draw back a whole bunch of air into the fermenter, which will happen, and obviously might not spoil your beer, but chances are it's going to end up with a lot of problems down the track. Beyond that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to hook an elbow into the bottom of mine to make life a little bit easier, but otherwise, yeah, I'll show you how it goes. So I'm just about to crack this bottom valve, but what I should have said is when you go to rack from your bottom port, don't just crack this valve fully open, because you might end up just blowing a hole straight through your sediment in the bottom, instead of racking it slowly and letting it come down the sides and into the bottom port. Otherwise, we'll give this a crack and see how we go. If it gets, oh no, it might not be getting stuck. All right, so this is a good example of when, so right now we've got too much sediment in the bottom that's compacted. It is a hazy, so there's going to be a lot of that protein and obviously hops now down the bottom. What you can do is just basically give this a little wiggle. And if this doesn't work, I'll put some more head pressure on top, and then I'll come back to you. All right, so in typical Murphy's Law fashion, exactly what I said wouldn't happen if we kept this thing warm has happened. It's just gunked up at the bottom and it's just full of hops and crud in typical New England fashion. This is only day 3 as well. You wouldn't normally have this happen in any kind of, I guess, regular lager or ale where you're not dry hopping in day 1 of ferment. Good time to show you though, what you can do is get yourself one of these corny output little triclover posts. I've just hooked mine up to the to the bottom port here, and I just want to show you guys, when you do this, one handy thing you can do is make sure you purge this little space of O2, because if you don't and you go to open this, obviously it's just going to push all that O2 back into your tank. You can do this by connecting just that, like that, open it, and then this clamp's too bloody stiff. So connect this up. This has all been sprayed out with ethanol and a bit of star sand then. So connect that like that and just let it in there. Leave a gap so it blows all that oxygen out. Close her up. A little bit of pressure will come at you. Just turning the gas bottle off there. If I had a tri-clamp that wasn't such a pain in the ass, it'd probably be a lot easier. Hook that up like that. And then your valve's going to be able to handle that pressure. Open your CO2 back up. That's now pressured. Now what we want to do is just let a tiny bit of CO2 in here. You'll hear it bubbling. There it goes. And that's hopefully dislodged that plug down the bottom. And we'll set up for racking. All right, racking round 2. I have just taken some off, and as you can see in there, it's pretty gunky stuff. So hopefully we haven't blown too much of that stuff back up in suspension. I'll keep taking it off here until I reckon there's not much more to be taken. Yeah, it's pretty gunky. About there. And as you can see, we've got a bit of breakout there, which suggests it's probably gone to a bit more actual beer rather than just crud. After this, yeah, just because we have blown CO2 back up in there, it's probably wise to come back and rack it tomorrow again, just because all that stuff will settle out again. And obviously you don't want it building into a little compact cone down the bottom and going through it all again. Hopefully you got something out of that. Cheers.